Good morning, everyone. Well, it is the 1st of March, and boy, doesn't the time get away quickly. I mean, it only seems like yesterday it was the 1st of February, but, such is the world of business. As we all know, I've seen plenty of memes lately about that January and February are really just bonus months for 2018, and that we haven't really started 2019 yet. But I think when March rolls up, we are definitely into 2019. So I suppose, we've got to keep moving forward. I've been busy like the last couple of weeks. I actually spent 1 week on deployment working on a fire down near Stanthorpe. So, that was a pretty full-on week. Certainly the first day was flat chat. And so I've kind of been out of that and, client work and that. And obviously T-shirts, another new design and also on the back. So that's been going good. People are starting to buy the shirts. The word's getting out there. Slow but sure. But like building a brand is not something that happens overnight. And when you're targeting a specific market, it's difficult, especially when you're doing it all online. It does change the way things work. You can't just go and get 1,000 shirts printed and go and turn up at a market. So it's really interesting. And I'm discovering the power of social media and word of mouth. So getting people to, talking to other fireys who like the designs. I've had people come up and say, oh, they're really good. Say, well, when you buy one, or even if you don't buy one, even if you like them, please share my posts. So physically asking people to share my posts is good, and it is helping. It's getting the word out to people that I don't know, like that I'm not directly connected with, but are firefighters. But, step by step. So I've been busy doing those sorts of things, and then working on a new program to launch this year. And that's been really interesting, looking at some speaking gigs and looking at running some workshops around the country and into New Zealand and maybe even into Asia. So putting all those plans into place and getting everything ready to go. So I'm sure that you guys have been busy too, so let's kick off a bit. So I've got a couple of questions I'm going to look at today that people have sent to me, and I'd like to, answer those as best I can. And hopefully these will help you, because these do seem to be common questions I'm asked and nothing new. Now, the first one is how to ensure images on a website are good for SEO. And there's kind of a couple of things about that. The first one is that the size of the image is actually a big factor in SEO, because you've got not just page load speed, you now have website load speed. In fact, Google just released a new tool in the last week or so called site load speed test. So you can do page load speed test and then also tests site load. And it's built around the speed of the site loading on mobile devices, not just desktop, because mobile first. And one of the biggest things you do see when you get the report back, it'll give you a rating, 1 to 100. A good site should be between 60 and 100, I think. Even one of my sites, which is super fast, only ranked a 50. So there's always things that you can do to improve them. But one of the biggest things that I do see when I run these sorts of reports on sites is that the images come back as being massive. So what happens is you go to a designer to get your website done, and they say, okay, you want the header image across the top? And you go, yep, and I'd love a slider. So, they stick 4 or 5 images in there that move across. And each of those images is a large image, because it's actually like the full banner. So the full banner width is generally 1920 by 1080, like same as your television, I suppose, unless you've got a 4K TV. So full high definition. And then it's, cut down a bit depending on how high you've got it, or whether you're using parallax, all those sorts of things. And every time you load one of those pictures that's that big, you're talking about, say, 500 kilobits of information. So if you've got 4 images, you're loading, 2 meg or more of information. Now, if you've actually, and this is what I do see clients do, where they load their own images onto the home page. So they replace an image, say, from a blog post or something with a new image. And so they take a photo with their camera and they upload that photo. Well, a camera with a photo is around 3,500 pixels wide, and and then however high it is depending on how the shot's being done, whether it's widescreen or 4:3 ratio. And that means that the average photo shot is around 3,000 kilobits, so 3 meg. So if you've got 3 or 4 camera photos on the home, you're talking about 10 meg of photos loading, and that can take ages, especially on a slow connection. So you're smashing your site apart. The load speed's so bad that you're not getting people coming to your site, because they're not waiting for it to load. They come and it doesn't load, so they back out. And this is definitely something we're seeing. So you won't see this as a bounce. You just won't see these visitors at all. So you're missing them. Some of them will show as a bounce, but not always. So you've got to get the size of your images down. The first thing I would say is get rid of your sliders. Okay, it's been tested. They're a waste of damn time. All they do is make you feel good about how you got lovely images at the top. If you think of it in the reverse way, when you go to someone's site, you come into the site and you start scrolling. You don't sit there and wait for the banners to load and read them all. And if you do, you are an unusual case. You're very special. Now, sometimes I will look at them, I must admit, just to see what's up there. But realistically, on a mobile phone especially, you start scrolling and looking for things. So you're looking for the menu at the top, the 4 lines or whatever, and then you come down the page. So you're wasting your time doing that. What you want is a good image, a nice image with some good writing over it to catch people's attention. A picture alone does not keep people on your website. I've said it 1,000 times. You need a good headline to catch their attention. So stop wasting your time. I also use video in a similar sort of thing in the top, just to animate and catch people's attention. But you need to get those images down, so you need to compress them. Now, more often than not, people are, not looking at a website on a full-size screen. So generally when we're building a website, we set that center column at around 960 pixels. So you might be putting an image in that's 1920 wide, but it's actually only showing around 1,000 to 1,100 pixel screen, because the rest of the screen is contained in 960. That way everything doesn't get too wide and go all weird. It's always good to set boundaries. So the first thing you do is look at that image. You need to get your designer to bring it down to as small as possible to fit in the space. So if it's 1920 by 1080, bring it down to 300 high by 1100 wide, if that is the standard size of the viewing browser. And that's something that they need to do, and get rid of obviously the rest of the sliders, because you're wasting your time and effort doing that. The second thing you look at is the photos you put up on the web page. So if you take a photo with your camera and then you upload it, you're going to look at a 3 megabit picture. If you take that picture and drop it down to 800 by 600, which is around a good size, and you can put it on your page, probably bringing it actually down to around 640 by 480, realistically, when it sits on the page, you're going to cut the amount of size down. One of the things you see is that when a photo comes out of a camera, it's running at around 300 dots per inch DPI. What it needs to be for the web is actually around 72. So I recommend for photos, you actually bring it up to 96 DPI. That adds a little bit more definition in a photo to add that really nice look. But all the same, if you take a photo of a camera, drop it down to 96 DPI and shrink the size of the photo to 800 by 600, you'll bring it down to around 100 to 200 kilobits. So you're going to go from 3,000 to 100 to 200. And that's going to make a massive difference to the speed of load on your website. At 800 by 600, it will pretty well fill the screen for most people. So that's a good size to actually look at a photo at. Now, there is other things you can do. You can, obviously JPEG is the most common for photos, but you can bring them in as PNG files are just a little bit better quality. Again, it could increase the size of the picture. But also you need to learn to experiment with some tools. So Google actually has a tool called Squoosh. So it's SQUOOSH, Squoosh. And you can load a picture in there and get it to compress, and you kind of slide back and forth and see before and after. And it will tell you, what the entry size of the photo is to the what it is when it's been swooshed. And this will help you compress the photo, and then you can save the compressed one and use that one instead. Generally, I think you should go through your site and look at all your photos, right-click on them, find out how big they are. Because it is surprising that, designers want the best picture, and yet some don't really care about the size of the photo. And even in this day and age, they should know better, but a lot of people don't. They just don't understand web marketing or anything to do with the web. All they understand is design and pretty. So, you've got to step up yourself and say, look, I want this compressed. I need it to load fast. Now, second tool is one that is actually available as a plugin as well. So if you're using WordPress, the plugin is called Smush. So it's SMUSH. And Smush is a plugin you put in your website, and it smushes photos. So as you upload a photo into WordPress, it will automatically smush it down. So it will compress it and bring it down in size. But you should still, before you take a photo from a camera or a big photo you've pulled from the web, from Shutterstock or something like that, you still need to bring it down in size. Bringing it down physically in pixel size makes a massive difference to the amount of data that's stored in the image. So you don't want to lose the original. What you need to do is right-click on it, duplicate it, and then compress that one and rename it. Now, one of the other things, aside from is the name of the image. So you need to name the image what it is. So if it's a photo of your office, you need to say, you know, Joe's Electricals office inside -1, -2, -3. That way, you know, you're actually getting the name of the place. So you can say Joe's Electricals Burley office inside 1 if you want to. So you can use keywords in your images. And then when you've got the image loaded on there, there's also the alt tag, which actually tells Google what it's a picture of. And while alt tags aren't used that much, they are part of SEO, and they do just put you that one step higher than your competition doesn't bother to fill them in. They were originally used as an alternative information for screen readers, for people who are blind, to tell them what the pictures on the page were of, because obviously they can't see them. But it's still an important part of SEO. And I mean, I do talk about alt tags in the course. It's just one of those steps you can do. It doesn't take very long. It's worth doing. So how can you ensure your images on the website are good for SEO? The best thing you can do is compress them, because page load and website load really affects SEO these days. Okay, second question. If I have 3 areas in my business, should I focus on one or try to push all 3 on my website? And this is from Michael, and it's also in reference to SEO. Obviously with SEO, we talk about niching down. But if you have 3 main things that you do, how do you niche down? You can't just talk about one. And that is a common sort of question that I do get asked. So my thoughts on this are pretty simple. And it will depend on your business. But if you are a local business that services a local area, you niche down by using the area and what you do, and then the niche. So you talk about, you know, plumbing at Burley, and you talk about, you know, fixing block drains. So you talk about, you know, fixed block drains, plumber Burley. And that's how you bring it in. And then you talk about that topic. But the whole site, the overarching is plumber Burley. And then you have your specialist areas, 1, 2, 3, within that area of plumbing that you specialize in as a business. So that's what I would suggest you do, is focus in on the bigger niche, and then talk about that specific area within the, you know, within your site. Now, you can cover obviously a range of things, but the key thing is that those topics are related to your industry. So plumber Burley, you know, drains, fixed taps, fixtures, replacement, all those sorts of things are related to the topic. If you start talking about doing electrical work at the same time, topic. So that's what I would suggest. If you're, say, a speaker, and you know, you speak on 15 different topics, then number one, probably not going to get cut through on the marketplace, because it doesn't work that way. If you are doing that, then you've got SEO at a higher level. So if you talk about you know, change, you know, and technology and whatever, you might be classed as a futurist. So futurist is where your SEO should be focused, not on necessarily change. Okay, because change can be, you know, change management, you know, leadership change, all sorts of areas. So you've got to bring it up to that next level. So some things to think about there. So look, hopefully, you know, next week I'll see you again, back into the swing of things. Obviously, with so many fire calls, it's just been crazy. And I know those of you who are down in the southern states, the heat continues. We're on, you know, it's about 24 degrees at the moment up here. I'm almost cold. It's crazy, but that's the way the weather in Australia is. We always tend to think it's nice. It's in fact a very, very large place. So enjoy your week. Get into your marketing. Hopefully next week I'll have some information on this new program I'm putting together. Basically, it's built around taking a book and turning a book into a course. So a lot of authors have books, and a book is $20. It's not a lot of money, so I'm focusing on putting a done for you and a training program together for people who want to take a book and quickly turn it into a course so they can sell their $20 book for $1,000. So have a good one. Take it easy. I'm going to keep working on some designs. I am getting cut through. So I'm actually getting fire stations ringing me, asking me to design shirts for them. So getting close to the point where I can actually bring a designer on board, which is the next step for that business. Catch up with you soon. Have a great one. Bye.